Hey everyone, welcome to News to Astonish, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. Today we're going to be talking about the Easter eggs and references of Spider-Man, and I found an article on GameInformer.com talking about all the Easter eggs we've come to expect in this game. And it says here, Spider-Man's going to be full of references to his long history and past Spider-Man stories. Some references and Easter eggs will be obvious, but others will be more subtle. We talked about a number of these references already in our coverage of the game so far, but wanted to put everything we saw into one place, and also talked about some of the other surprises we encountered while playing. Avengers Tower and Sanctum Sanctorum and the Wakandan Embassy, we asked Insomniac writer John Paquette about how far the Spider-Man story would stretch beyond the realm of Spider-Man's world. We are firmly planted in the Spider-Verse with the characters you are familiar with all the Spider-Man stories and Peter's stories, Paquette said. While everything we've seen proves that to be true, it does not outright ignore the expanded Marvel Universe. We don't know if these locations will play into the story in a meaningful way, but we can absolutely confirm the Avengers Tower, complete with the giant A on the side, Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, and the Wakandan Embassy from Black Panther are all still present in the game. Excelsior. We don't know if Stan Lee will be making one of his obligatory cameos in Spider-Man, but we do know one part of the man appears in the game. We saw at least one license plate that had Lee's familiar catchphrase Excelsior on it. Knowing how video game license plates work, however, it's entirely possible that every car in Spider-Man's New York will feature the phrase Crusher Hogan versus a spider. In the corner of Peter Parker's apartment, there is a poster highlighting his early Spider-Man shenanigans from 2010. Peter, dressed in what is probably his first Spider-Man suit, wrestled and defeated Joe Crusher Hogan for money. In the comics, Hogan rarely goes full-on villain, but his life is affected by that early fight with Spider-Man. Additionally, we're betting that the suit featured in the poster will be available as an unlock. Fisk and McClintock construction. We saw Fisk construction signs everywhere, which is not surprising considering Wilson Kingpin Fisk is a major antagonist in the game, and he has his hands in a number of different businesses in Spider-Man's New York, including construction. The more interesting construction sign we saw, however, was for McClintock Construction. McClintock Construction is a part of the Marvel Universe, created for Netflix's Daredevil, and it is related to Fisk in the context of that show. In that universe, the character McClintock also has ties to Union Allied Construction, the company that worked to rebuild New York after the events of the first Avengers film. We are not sure how McClintock Construction will factor in the game. It may just be a fun nod, but we definitely saw that name. So that's pretty cool that they're tying in some Avengers movies and Netflix TV shows into this game. Really cool Easter eggs to have. Just goes to show that this Marvel Universe in the Spider-Man game is more expanded than we think. Scorpion, Rhino, and Vulture. We know Wilson Kingpin Fisk, Martin Mr. Negative Lee, and Herman Shocker Schultz are in Spider-Man, but the game's opening scene offers hints for a few other villains. As the camera pans around Peter's apartment, it slowly pans past a wall of newspaper articles calling out Scorpion, Rhino, and Vulture, complete with photographs. The headline implies that Peter saved these articles to commemorate these villains being put behind bars, so it's possible they may stay there for the duration of the game, but the prospect of getting to tussle with all three of these villains is undeniably exciting. I would love to see a revamped, remastered version of these villains in the game personally myself. I love to fight these classic villains. Spider-Man is nothing without these villains. I mean, that's essential to have in a classic Spider-Man game. I mean, it sucks enough that we're not getting any mentions of symbiotes or Venom at all in this game, but hey, at least throw in the classic villains like Rhino, Scorpion, and the Vulture. Swilco Soda? Another element of the game's opening cutscene that stood out were discarded cans of Swilco Soda. We We also saw signs for the beverage while exploring the city. Swilco is not a brand from the Marvel Universe as far as we can tell, but we think it might be a referential cousin to Fisco, the world-destroying energy drink from Sunset Overdrive, another Insomniac game. So it's pretty cool. I personally never played Sunset Overdrive. I hear many great things about it, but the fun fact is that Yuri Lowenthal actually voiced supposedly the main character of the game, and Fisco Soda is this drink, like it states here, the world-destroying energy drink from Sunset Overdrive. So it's pretty cool that Insomniac is throwing their own Easter eggs from their own video games into the Spider-Man game. Empire State University posters. We saw ESU signs all over the place while exploring the city. It's the college Peter attended, and in the timeline of the game, the one from which he recently graduated. ESU has been in the Marvel Universe since its introduction in 1965 and has been host to all kinds of Marvel characters other than Spider-Man, like members of the Fantastic Four at times, though I doubt any of them will appear in the game. Norman Osborn re-election posters. In Spider-Man's story, Norman Osborn was elected mayor before the events of the game. During the few weeks of October during which the game takes place, he is running for re-election, and we saw campaign posters for his bid everywhere. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's up to no good. So lastly, we have Spider-Man's performer is secretly Spider-Man. Yuri Lowenthal is playing the titular character in Spider-Man, but he's taking that role a step further by making sure he is always Spider-Man, even under his mocap suit. One day we were doing performance capture and it was the weekend of Halloween, and so I wore a Spider-Man shirt. One of those Under Armour things, some Spider-Man boxers and some Spider-Man socks, and then at the end of the day, I opened it up and showed it off to everyone, and everyone thought it was funny. Lowenthal says, everyone thought it was so funny that it became a thing. And here, as you can see, we have a picture of Yuri Lowenthal in his mocap suit, and underneath it is like one of those tight-fitted Under Armour shirts from Spider-Man. So it's pretty cool that Yuri Lowenthal is throwing everything he's got. He surely has a lot of passion playing the character, and surely it's what it sounds like when you hear him voicing the character. On Twitter, he tweeted out, "At long last, the secret's out. For the last several years, I've had the best job in the world and couldn't say a thing about it. Thanks at Insomniac Games for making my inner child's dream come true. Hashtag Spider-Man, hashtag Spider-Man PS4." So that's pretty much all the Easter egg coverage I have for you guys for Spider-Man PS4. What do you guys think? You think that there were any other Easter eggs that were missed? Did you catch any other Easter eggs in the trailers that you saw? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, like always, guys, I do have my Spider-Man PS4 giveaway going on. Please do not forget about that. All you got to do is like my videos, comment, subscribe, and be sure to hit that bell notification so you don't miss anything, of course. And so I leave you guys to it. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next comic panel.